Okay, welcome back. I actually couldn't find anything that specifically said what an asterisk did, but this is a hunter type, and it says monsters with hunter activations move toward and engage their prey. So my best interpretation is the reason it's an asterisk is because it's going to move as far as it needs to. So it doesn't matter. There's nowhere she can hide. This hunter will move directly to and engage the lowest will player immediately. So if she's on the other end of town, it's going to move infinite number of spaces and it will engage her no matter what. So I think that's what this means. So do I really want it to engage her? It's going to do 1 health and 1 mental damage to her. So I think what I want McGlenn to do is we will do a 1, 2, 3 move. So he is paying $1. And so we're going to do that, and we're going to use the car to do 2 damage to this thing. So we will do 2 damage to it and 2 damage to the boiler. Now, when you're engaged to a monster yourself, it won't go after her. So engaged monsters don't disengage voluntarily. They will stay engaged with you until you either exhaust it, and then of course it would re-engage later, or if somebody else comes along and attacks it and then engages it themselves. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So so we moved and did damage to it as part of our movement, and we actually have 1 more action. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to evade it, even though we only get to roll 1 die. The other thing I can do is maybe a focus, but I'm not going to do that at this time. So we're going to go ahead and try to evade it. It's just 1 die. Let's see if we succeed. And we didn't. All right, that's fine. So I think that's it. So now we're moving to the monster phase. With the monster phase, there is just 1 monster, this Ravenous Predator, and it's going to do 1 damage and 1 horror to us. And it's to Mr. McGlenn here. So he's going to just go ahead and take it. The horror, though, is pretty high for him. He's at 2 out of 4. So we got to be concerned there, especially because of this reckoning effect. So that part is bad. But we're going to go ahead and, I mean, that's it for the monster phase. So now we move to the encounter. So since he's engaged, he doesn't do 1. Marie is in the street. So I'm going to grab a street card, which is way over here. So let's put this down. And she's on a, looks like a gas lamp. So residential, I guess is what it's called. Stop right there. A figure rushes past you with Deputy Dingby hot on the trail. We can test our observation. If you pass, let's do that first. Test observation. And her observation is 3. So let's see what we get. And nothing. All right, so if we fail, Dingby arrests you while you argue that you look nothing like the thief. You become delayed. Okay, delayed is a term that, if any of you have played Arkham games, delayed is in just about all of them. They sometimes do different things in each one, but in this game, it's like a, if you've played Descent or Imperial Assault, it's like a stun, basically. You're going to get knocked over, and then when it's your turn, you're going to stand up and you only get 1 action. So you can look at it from a different way. I mean, the rules don't word it this way, but you can look at it as if standing up is 1 of your 2 actions. And then you only have 1 action left. And that's basically what being delayed does. So you're only going to get 1 of your 2 actions next turn. All right. Now we're going to go to Ashcan, which is on the Unvisited Isle. So let's go check that out. Unvisited Isle. Golden butterflies land on the branches of the surrounding trees and spin their countless cocoons. You may become delayed to watch what happens next. If you do, they hatch into a swarm of red and black caterpillars. You gain 1 clue from your neighborhood and 1 remnant. So do I want to become delayed? And my answer is yes, because I actually get 3 actions. So if I lose 1 action for being delayed, it's no big deal. So I'm going to get the clue and a remnant, which I could possibly use at some other time. All right, that's it for encounters. Now we're going to go Mythos. So we're going to draw her 2, Marie's. I have a blank and a gate burst. So the gate burst is coming out of the front card, which is downtown. So let me grab the camera here. And this is going to be very, very bad. Just to point out. Gate bursts are going to cause us to put 1 in each area, and there's already 4. So it doesn't even matter where the first one goes. So I'm going to put 3 here, and then 2 doom are going onto our scenario sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 doom. And if we ever get a 7th one, bad things happen. So we're not doing good. And I want to forget this. So worst possible spot to have that happen. And we're not done. Now Ashcan gets to draw 2. All right, so we have a clue and a doom. Let's do the doom first. I'm gonna draw from the back. It is the north side, and it will be the Arkham advertiser space. And I just realized I forgot to do something, so let me back all this up. I'm putting this back in the back of the deck because those of you who've been paying attention will probably realize I needed to shuffle these, put them back in the pile. That's what happens when a gate burst occurs. So all these go back and they go in the rear. So now that I did that, I draw the rear card, and it's actually the Merchant District, the Unvisited Isle. That is where the Doom token is going to go. So it's going to go there. And then the Clue token is going to go in the north side. So I'm just going to put this down, put a Clue in the north side, and shuffle this in. Okay, and then the last 2 for Mr. McGlenn. We're going to get another Doom. So grabbing from the back, it's Easttown, Velma's Diner. And look at that. I know you can't see it yet, but I'll pick this up. We just got a 3rd Doom in Easttown, and we have another anomaly. So I feel like we're spending our whole game chasing these anomalies and not getting our objective done. We're in a pickle, but we are to the action phase. So now we got to figure out what to do. So Maria, I can stand her up and move her. That's about all I can do. But the good news is I can move somebody else. And at this point, I don't know if there's anybody else I want to move. Ashcan would be somebody I'd want to move. So I'm going to stand up Ashcan. And then he has 2 actions left. 1 action will be to flip this over. And so we got the white one. So nothing happens there. So that was 2 actions. And then the 3rd one, we can try to remove a ward. Yeah, why not? He can... Yeah, we'll do that. So we're going to roll 4 dice, see if we can remove a ward. Where's my 4th die? Oh, I found it. There's 3 of them, and I succeeded, so I don't need to roll the 4th. So we're going to remove that Doom. So those were his actions, and then what we'll do is we'll stand her up, and we're going to move her to there, which then allows us to move Ashcan. So we're going to move him 2 spaces to there. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Then we go to McGlenn, And he's going to attack this monster. He only gets to roll 7 dice this time. And there's 2 hits right there. So the Ravenous Predator is dead. It only needed 1 more hit. We already had 2 damage on it. He gets a remnant for it. And he is just swimming in remnants. All right, so that was one of his actions. His second action is he could pick this up. Or he can go try to move up to the other one so we can start removing Doom tokens. I honestly don't know which is the better path. I mean, obviously Ashcan's here. But I think what we're going to do is we're just going to pick this up. And we found the red one. So the other one we can just discard. We know it's white. It's no longer important. And let's read what happens when we find the red one. Oh, profane ritual. When you reveal the red marker, if the barrier is destroyed, it is, that's what this says, add card 7 to the codex face down. Otherwise, add that to the codex face up. Do not remove this card from the codex. If both blue and red have been revealed, remove all other markers. Okay, that was from the board, and return this. So, okay, so we're done with this card. It's going in, and then we're going to grab card 7. Now, these can be really confusing. What does face up, face down mean? But this is the barrier face up, and I think, well, let's read it. I know it's supposed to be entered face down because we've already destroyed the barrier, but I think there's some nice flavor text here. A swirling storm flickers in the sky, twisting first one way and then the other as time reverses course over and over again. This must be the epicenter of the temporal disturbances. As you approach, the air grows thicker and thicker until it is hard and unyielding as glass. An unseen force forbids you from the epicenter of the disturbance, and none of your usual counter magics or tricks erode it 1 iota. You have to find some other way past. The space with the red marker is the epicenter. For the time being, a magical barrier prevents you from entering the area, and then you would have to be moved 1 space away. So you have to destroy the barrier, which we did with the blue. I was, inadvertently, without even knowing. So now this is the side that was supposed to be face up. The reason for the temporal distortions is now clear. The enormous mass of the blind idiot god, Azathoth, is pulling the threads of space and time out of order, even in advance of his arrival. Because Azathoth will appear in the future, space and time are warping the present, and the Daemon Sultan's arrival is nigh. You need to reverse the cult ritual that summoned Azathoth in order to ward the outer god away. You can only do it where it all began, at the epicenter. The space with the red marker is the epicenter. Action. You may remove 3 clues from the scenario to erect a protective ward over Arkham. If you do, read the back of card 5. Perform this action only at the epicenter. So, we do have card 5 here. It says time unstuck. And we have 2 out of our 3 clues here. And Ashcan Pete actually has a clue that he could contribute. But unfortunately, we're done with all of our actions. And we also have a lot of doom. Actually, this is getting a lot closer than I would like. So we moved to the monster phase. And I forgot in the monster phase to basically say that he's ready again. He was exhausted. This is the last turn. Now, this turn, he's actually going to get to move. And when they're ready, by the way, they flip to this side. I mean, I just usually don't do it because I don't feel like moving the health tokens, but we need to see how he moves. He's a hunter, and he's going to move directly to and engage the most remnants, which is actually McGlenn here because he has a bazillion of them. So this hound is going to engage McGlenn, and he's going to do 2 health and 1 mental damage. So McGlenn is 1 away from dying. He's in actually very bad shape. And I don't have any allies or anything I can give it to like I can with the other players. I should probably use Ashcan Pete to trade some items here. But anyways, that's the situation. That hound really did a number on him. Okay, now we do the encounter phase. McGlenn is, of course, occupied. Ashcan will do Black Cave. So this is River Town. So we're gonna go do a Black Cave. The stone tablets are too heavy to move. You'll have to read them here. You gain 1 spell. The tide is coming in and the water laps at your ankles. So we're gonna test our will. First of all, let's get our spell. The spell cards are here. Get Find Gate. You can test lore. If you pass, you move to a space of your choice with 1 or more doom. Okay. He's got a lot of items. And I will test his will, which is a 4. And he failed. Wow. If you fail, the undertow dashes you against the rocks. You suffer 2 damage. All right, so 2 damage for him is okay. He can handle 2 damage. It's just a flesh wound. All right, so now we move to Marie there over at Velma's Diner. But we're actually drawing this. She has 3. You can't see the shadowy figure's face nor discern their gender, but they are offering you a solution to your problem in exchange for a future favor. I understand much and ask little, they say. You may gain a dark pact condition to remove 3 doom from your space and gain 1 remnant. I'm going to do that. So let's go ahead and there's a whole bunch of them over here. I'm just shuffling through and we're just going to grab a random one. We're not allowed to look at the other side, but she now has made a deal with the devil, basically. And we're going to remove 3 of these. This was huge because removing 3 caused the anomaly to actually go away. And that's going to help us to possibly win this game. And I'm banking on the fact that we're not going to draw that many Reckoning, just to help you out with the Dark Pact. During Reckoning, we're going to roll a die. And if we ever roll a 1, we flip this over because our debt is due. And I can assure you, there's different outcomes on the other side of this. They're all bad. So basically, you made a deal with the devil, and if you roll a 1, your time is up. So, oops, I almost flipped that over. So anyways, they're all different, and it's basically a gamble, and you got a 1 in 6 chance, so the chances are good that you can survive. I'm banking on the fact that we're near the end of the game. So if I can just win the game, I only have maybe 1 or 2 rounds left. That's what I'm hoping for. And the benefit was getting rid of this anomaly, because we're going to be drawing some tokens now, and it's her turn. And she's drawing the last 2 from the cup. And we have a headline and a monster spawn. Okay, I'm going to put everything back in the cup. So headline and monster spawn. Let's do the headline first. Church leaders, bless city. Catholic, Protestant, Greek, Jewish faith leaders unite. Response to sightings of demons, satanic rites. Headline, test will and resolve the effect based on your result. Her will is only 2, so it's not very good. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick roll here. And we actually got 1 success, which is better than I was expecting. So with 1 success, you become blessed. Spawn 1 monster in your space. That part's not good. Okay, so let's spawn the monster real quick. She's getting a Tindalos Alpha, which doesn't sound good. Has 1 additional health per investigator. Holy buckets. So yeah, that has a lot of health. So she's in trouble, and so it's going to engage her. Then she gets blessed. And this is interesting. I don't know what happens if you're... I guess you have to discard it if you're cursed. So she's both got a Dark Pact and she's blessed. So that's interesting. While resolving a test, 4s and 5s and 6s count as successes instead of just 5s and 6s. Then if you fail a test, you discard the card. If you would become cursed, you could discard this instead. So that's an interesting thing. All right, now we're going to move on to Ashcan Pete, and we've refreshed everything. So that means a lot of doom could come on the board. He drew a blank, which still makes me laugh, and we have one of those headlines again. Break-in at Historical Society. Criminals wore robes, masks. Several artifacts stolen. Gang of occult-minded thugs could be anywhere. You suffer 2 damage and 2 horror unless you place 1 doom in your space. In this situation, I'm going to place a doom in his space. Doom doesn't hurt him too much. So we're going to grab this doom. And just to refresh you, he's here. So there'll be a second doom added to his space. Okay, and now we're going to do McGlenn, and let's hope that our luck continues. We don't want any doom in the downtown area. There's a doom token and a blank. So one of the 2 is good, and let's hope this back card, I'm going to, for dramatic effect, oh, it's Easttown. We just cleaned it. So Velma's Diner gets one, and here's what's crazy. Had she not taken the Dark Pact, that would have gone on the scenario card, because if you remember, that's where the anomaly was. So she made the right choice so far in cleaning that out. So that was a good move. We were at the end of the Mythos phase. Now we go to the action phase. Everybody gets to go. And I think the most important thing to win the game is we need... we need 3 clues from the scenario to erect a protective ward. We currently have 2 clues there, and we're going to get 1 more if he can succeed. So I'm going to have Ashcan go first, and I'm going to have him do a scrounge action, of all things. So he's going to get $1 for his scrounge. He then gets to take an item from the offer, and the item I'm going to take, because it has to be $2 or less, there's a first aid kit. So he's getting a first aid kit that can allow an investigator or an ally recover a health. But that's not the reason he did all this. He did all this because he wants to focus. And so we already have 3 focus tokens. So what he's going to do is get rid of the will focus and replace it with the, I'm just trying to, yeah, he's going to replace it with the observation one because he wants to get this clue done. So, okay, so that was 1 action. Now his influence is 2, so he can actually have McGee also get an influence, and so that's and he can, or I'm sorry, a focus. Normally he can only have 1, but this cop here, the deputy of Arkham, lets him have 1 more. So we're going to give him another one, and there's a lot of them to choose from, but we're going to give him an eyeball because evading is nice, and we would like to improve his chance of actually succeeding at it. So, okay, so I know that was a silly action, but this is trying to improve my chances of succeeding here. So now we're going to roll observation, which is 4 dice. And here you can see we get +1 more if it's a research action. So we're going to roll 5 dice. And I just noticed I was supposed to gain $2 when I got a clue because of the 1 item. So whatever person told me controlling multiple characters causes this, they're right. So you get to roll 5 dice. There's 2 right there. And I would get to roll another dice. I only needed 1. So I have the clue there. Okay, so that was action 2. And then for his 3rd action, he's going to do the action on the card. And we're going to turn in these 3 clues. And it says, we're going to create a protective ward. If you do, read the back of card 5. So card 5 is this time unstuck one. And it says if there's 7 or more doom, we would add cards 8 and 9. So we're going to turn over card 5. Wind whips around you as you shout your chant toward the heavens. The sky overhead tears open, revealing the unthinkable visage of the Daemon Sultan. Your mind falters, but then the ritual takes effect. The circle you have drawn in the street begins to glow, and beams of light fire from the ground towards the sky. The light bends and weaves the rift closed, forcing Azathoth back to the center of chaos. In the following days, you struggle to comprehend the passage of time. You cannot quite remember how long a day should feel, and your consciousness drifts between countless eternities in the blink of an eye. Still, life goes on. You eat breakfast while reading the headlines in the newspaper and see a familiar note in the margin in your own handwriting. Investigators win the game. So there you go, folks. That is one scenario. I would call it the introductory scenario. It's got all the rules, everything in it. But the path was clear. You're either getting clues or you're getting these. The only thing I can tell you, and I don't want to spoil, is I played a scenario where there was a particular group, like a faction, if you will, and you had to like ally yourselves with certain factions. So there's like the Silver Lodge, and there's other things in this game in Arkham, right? There's some scenarios where these different factions are at war with each other, or they do things with each other, and you're actually picking which faction you want to be a part of. And that greatly dictates how the scenario plays, and you're drawing different cards. It's like a choose your own adventure book. This choose your own adventure was very clear. You either gain clues or you got doom, and then things happen to you. I assure you that there's other scenarios that aren't like that. So they can be very interesting. And in fact, after playing the other ones, this one feels a little dull. But this one, I think, was fantastic because it was very tense, especially towards the end. We almost actually got enough doom for it to go the other way. And in fact, if the luck was a little different, it could have exactly happened that way. So there you have it. This is one game, full playthrough of Arkham Horror 3rd Edition. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't make too many errors. I thank you to the folks who helped me with the few things that I was doing wrong. And I know, for example, I forgot to collect the $2 here a few times. I get it. Don't even bother pointing it out unless you want to help other people who are watching the video. I'm not going to come back and fix this. But yeah, feel free to point out anything else that you may have noticed. But at minimum, I'm hoping that this gives everybody a wonderful playthrough to feel that they have a good sense of the rules. And more importantly, I know some of you are still waiting for an opportunity to get your copy, and maybe this will be something fun to watch while you're waiting, and then get as prepared as you can, because Azathoth is coming, and there's going to be that familiar handwriting while you're eating your breakfast. So thanks for watching. Stay awesome.